Live from the virtual Detroit Grand Prix at Belle, Iowa. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Apex Racing Academy official F3 Championship live on Apex Racing TV. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Joining me in the commentary box is Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonera downstairs in the production trailer, controlling all the cameras and overlays that you are seeing on your screen. And Alessandro, we enter a brand new week of this series, and there have been a lot of action, a lot of carnage, and I think we're going to see a lot of that times two today as we head to the first street circuit of the season, and possibly one of the most difficult circuits on the iRacing service to get right, with all the bumps and all the tight corners that you have on this course.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Belle is known for being one of the toughest tracks on the service, and I bet we will have a blast today. Lot of carnage for sure with this tight course and walls on both sides of the track. But we have a world-class field today with a lot of drivers, also some newcomers. But here are the championship standings of our own broadcast championship. We look at Albon leading with 70 points, 2 points behind Gianfranco Pagotto with Mr. Consistency, we must say. And David Holland in third, followed by Karl Modo, 42 points, Adrian Falcon with 37, then followed by Kleiner, Dan, Han, Wagner, and Kirlak Titsis.
Tight fight up at the top to really get those points, and Albon came in at the beginning of the season, did not have the best luck when he first started here on the broadcast, but quickly picked it back up and is now the dominant force in this series. He has won the past 2 races, and I believe he is 3 in a row. He's going for 4 here this week, and just an insane run that Luca Albon has been on. Right now he sits second though to Gianfranco Pagotto, and Pagotto might have the best experience on this track that I can really say, because he runs the IGP Fun Series, which mirrors this as well. But last season they ran Detroit, and he was one of the dominant cars there, and a lot of practice this week. I think we might see Gianfranco Pagotto run up front all day, but he has Luca Albon starting right on his outside.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looks like Gianfranco Pagotto today is really on point, doing a great job in qualifying, as Enzo Fittipaldi gets 4th place. Only 11 drivers in 1 second, but look at all the drivers till Bernstoff in 17th place, divided by 1.3. So I think we will have a very tight field, but remember, just a single mistake, a little incident around this track, and you might lose a lot of valuable time.
Lots of close times right now, and lots of times still needing to come in. 3 cars still have not put in a time. That's Thiago Spencer, Felipe Dantas, and Carlos Derecho, who you're currently taking a look at right now. 123, 452, 1.8 seconds off of your current pole sitter, Gianfranco Pagotto, puts him down to 19th. We will have one more lap as we have a minute and a half remaining here in qualifying. Spencer and Dantas not on the track right now, but just looking down the order right now, it looks very similar to what we're used to seeing here in qualifying. We see Albon up front, Pagotto up front, new faces, Isaac Clark is up there, and Enzo Fittipaldi, Marco Zippoli, Francesco Miola, Paulo Dreta, these familiar names down in that back half of the top 10. They're going to be looking to try and make some passes early on, and some new faces starting to poke their way into the top 10.
Oh, for sure, and this is a great opportunity for drivers that maybe are not as fast as our leading drivers to score valuable points for the championship and also for the official series, because obviously with such a high strength of field race and the possibility of having damage on this car track combo very high, we might see some very big movers, like for example Bernstoff in 17th, who showed plenty of speed also in Barcelona 2 weeks ago.
Well, the Retro going to come across the line, finish out his laps a 122.7 on his second lap. He'll improve 5 spots up into P14. So we take a look at the weather. 79 degrees Fahrenheit here in Detroit. A fairly warm day, especially for late January here in Detroit. 37% humidity, partly cloudy, 13-mile-an-hour winds. Those are some incredibly fast winds. Those walls on the side going to be breaking up that wind a little bit, but I'm expecting on these long straightaways, those cars will be getting a bit light as they make their way down. And here we go. It's time to work our way down the starting grid with Gianfranco Pagotto starting on pole, Luca Albon in second, Isaac Clark will start third, Enzo Fittipaldi in fourth, and rounding out your top five is Carl Modoff with Marco Zippoli, Francesco Miola, Paulo Dreta, Marcos Luzio, and Anton Gulick in 10th place. Then Samuel Hermer and Marcus G 11th and 12th, Lorenzo Esposito, Carlos Derecho, Jose Kaplan rounds out your top 15 with Vitolo Garcia, Nathan Brito, Emil Bernstoff, Stephen Verity, Tom Van Humen, Isaac Gillison, Thiago Spencer, and Felipe Dantas rounding out your 23-car grid. Spencer and Dantas, the only two who did not take a lap in qualifying. They'll be starting 22nd and the 23rd as the grid forms up on the front straightaway. This circuit, a street circuit built on the streets of Detroit Belle Isle, and it has become one of the most iconic circuits on the IndyCar schedule and as well as the IMSA schedule. But here on iRacing, it was added on a couple of years ago, and it has quickly been one of the most popular tracks for just how tough it is, how many bumps are around this course, as it is almost all concrete, as well as just old road asphalt that has been left to settle, and they put walls around it, made a street circuit for IndyCar, and it is proven to have some exciting racing as the clock continues to wind down here as all the cars will make their way onto the grid. The lights will come up. Pagotto on pole, Albon in second. Who's going to take the lead as they go down into turn number one? The lights are out. Let's go racing. We're green from Detroit. A great start for Albon on the inside. Pagotto with a better start. He's going to take him on the outside. Pagotto leads a single car length separating the two. The 21 of Isaac Clark taps the wall with the rear bumper. But here they come. Already a drag race coming down into turn number two. Albon to the outside. Can Pagotto hold him off? Yes, he will. Pagotto almost pushing Albon into the wall through two. As they head through three, Albon now is a fight from Isaac Clark. Here comes Clark for second.
Some issue in the backfield with Bernstoff dropping quite a few positions as we see Fittipaldi and Modov side by side for Fittipaldi and Clark side by side for third place with Modov lurking in the background. Very good start for these drivers. This is the time when you need to make a lot of position because making a pass work later on is going to be very difficult.
Great move from Enzo Fittipaldi to dive it up the inside. He's going to take over that third spot. Isaac Clark loses his first spot of the race as he heads down into fourth, but he's still close right behind. And in this fight as well, it's Modoff behind with Zippoli, Lucio, Dreta, Miola. They're all so close together as they race through the third sector of this racetrack. You can see the battle for third extends all the way down to ninth as they're all so close together. The top two pulling away. That's Pagotto and Albon as they come back onto the front straightaway to head on to lap two.
We have lost already a few drivers. Derecho and Varadi are out of the race. Herner, Spencer, Kaplan entering right now pit road with some damage. So for them it's going to be a long race. But look how aggressive these drivers are with the 7 defending on really making, I think, plus 2 drivers there, Josh.
Great move from Anton Gulick to take over up into 8th place now, side by side. That's the 5 of Miola and the third car of Paulo Dreta, who's going to fall back now into 10th. Dreta lost 2 positions so far in 2 laps. He continues to fall down the order. He now has a mirror full of Lorenzo Esposito. But here's your leader, Gianfranco Pagotto, trying to extend a gap over Luca Albon. And extending a gap over Luca Albon is so difficult. I mean, every time I think Luca's been off of the lead, he has been so close to taking the lead, and he has now a stretch of wins that he's trying to continue with here on the broadcast. And right now, he sits in second, about 6/10 back from Pagotto. I'm not sure if Gianfranco Pagotto is going to be able to extend this gap ever further because Luca is such a consistent driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Between these two, it's going to be a very great fight. Usually we have seen in the last few weeks an inverted situation with Albon leading and Pagotto trying to run him down. But it's going to be interesting because obviously this track doesn't really provide a lot of passing zones apart from this particular right-hander after this long straight. And the cars might suffer a little bit of damage if you barely touch the wall or even hit very hard the curbs, as we see Tom Van Hooyman, as I was saying, brush gently the wall on the outside of turn 2.
And he's going to still make that move on Felipe Dantas, and he's going to make it work. He hops up into 16th as Dantas falls to 17th. Great move from the 17 to be able to, even after hitting the wall, be able to react to the car in front and see that move and take it as these drivers continue to race on through Sector 2. This is the tightest part of the racetrack. Almost a square turn here, just quick 45-degree angles. You can't really get that power down as you want until you're out of that section. As the 17 goes for another move on the 19 of Patillo Garcia. That's 2 positions in a matter of 2 corners. Great moves from Tom Van Hooyman as he moves up now into 15th. Doesn't look like hitting the wall made any damage to that car. He is still making it work, getting those tires up into temperature. And Alessandro, it's so difficult to get the tires up to temperature. Usually, I don't think these guys are going to have any issues today with the hot track temp and just the way the track is so abrasive to tires. It's probably going to be easy to get those tires at the working temperature. We're seeing a lot of passes already.
Yeah, Gullik making his way through Lucio. You saw him hitting the rev limiter on the end of the straight. So a bit short gearing for Gullik, but made the pass work, and now he's in 7th place. I think definitely the hotter temperatures today will help the drivers with the first few laps, but I think we might see some drivers struggling towards the end of the race, Josh, because obviously you get a better temperature at the start, but also tire wear will be even more of a factor.
We'll have to see how it develops over the course of the race. Still very early on, as we are only on lap number 4 of 16. So a long way to go here for these F3 cars as they continue to race. Here's a replay. This is of Samuel Hermer. Very slow on the straightaway. Wondering if this was one of the incidents that we had lost the car. And it looks like he just pulled it right off and towed it to the pits. I'm not sure if something happened before then or if it was maybe a hardware issue for Samuel Hermer, but he is out of the race, scored in 21st. Derecho and Verity, the other 2 in pit road. And I believe those 2 are also scored as out currently. Marcus G came down pit road. He is 1 lap down, but still on the racetrack as Modoff makes a move on Isaac Clark. That is for 4th place. The 2 cars taking over. The Delta Sport U4K machine is going to take over that 4th spot. Isaac Clark started in 3rd and is already down 2 spots into 5th. About to have a mirror full of Marco Zippoli behind. But Isaac Clark, one of the new faces here for the broadcast. He had a good qualifying effort, but right now he's just not being able to put it together in the race so far as he's lost 2 spots.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Being very fast on a single lap is one thing, and then making consistent lap times with especially this very difficult track, it's absolutely very, very complicated, because you can get an easy fast lap in qualifying, but if you don't have the consistency, the pace to do it every lap, then you will only go backwards. As we see here, Albon and Pagotto still running very closely together, but behind them it's Enzo Fittipaldi with the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.31 for him. 2 seconds behind Albon and Pagotto, so he might join them later on in the race if he keeps having his great pace.
And we mentioned that tire wear that might be coming in to be a factor here soon with such an abrasive track here in Belle Isle, with it being a road circuit, a street circuit. So we'll see if that affects how Enzo Fittipaldi is able to catch the cars in front. He might run out of time. As it looks like we're taking a look at a replay, and no, we're not. We're going to move back up to the front with Gianfranco Pagotto. Now has built a 7.5 tenths lead over Luca Albon. You can see the 6 right behind Pagotto, but he's still able to really use that car as he can and develop a gap. He's about 1/10 over the gap that he had a couple of laps ago when we last checked into this lead battle. But take a look at that gap with Fittipaldi. It's already under 2 seconds. You can see him in the camera right there in the red, number 20. He is trying to catch these two cars in front. It looks like he's succeeding right now as he runs another fastest lap, 2/10 faster than both Pagodo and Albon. What a lap from Fittipaldi, and he is still catching.
You can see from our lap time comparison between Albon and Fittipaldi how consistent is the time gain every lap, 1/10, 1/10, almost 3/10 in lap 4, and so on, as we move to the fight for 6th place between Marco Zipoli and Anton Gulich. You can see from this great camera shot how close every time these drivers are to the wall, every corner. You don't need to leave much space. You have to use as much as the track as possible, because otherwise you will lose valuable time to other drivers, but it's very risky.
Here's Gulick, you're on board with him right now as he tries to pass Marco Zipoli, who has not lost or gained a position yet today. Zipoli started in 6th, still scored in 6th. Gulick started back in 10th. He scored in 7th, up 3 spots, trying to make it 4 as he uses that slipstream. And slipstream is something we're not really going to talk about here today because we've talked about it before with a lot of those long straightaways. There's not really that many long, uninterrupted straightaways on this course. I mean, the straightaway they're coming up to right now as they make their way through the first and second chicane. This is the longest straightaway on the circuit right here, and it's really not that long. There's not that much of an opportunity to use that slipstream. This is pretty much all they got. You need to be close to be able to utilize it. And there goes Gulick utilizing it down into turn 3. He hops up into 6th.
Yeah, great pass. Zipoli helped him a little bit. He let him slide into the inside without having to fight too much. As we go back to our top 3, Albon always running at the same pace as Pagotto. It doesn't really get the chance to close down, but Fittipaldi behind is now 1.8. He didn't really gain a lot in the last lap, but now he also will start to find some dirty air, and his lap times probably are gonna also struggle a little bit. Obviously, Josh, slipstream today is not a big factor, so if you try to push really hard to get close to the drivers in front, you might use up your tires, and in the end it could hurt a lot. I don't know if maybe Albon is just trying to keep it tidy for the time being and then put some attacks later on, even if we are already halfway through the race at lap 9.
I just keep looking at the lap times from Enzo Fittipaldi. He's just at another best lap of the race last time by 1:21.13, about 2.4 tenths faster than Pagotto, at about a solid 3.3 tenths faster than Luca Albon. So he is on a mission right now as that gap extends from Albon to Pagotto to 8 tenths, 1.5 tenths from Fittipaldi to Pagotto. As we take a look at the fight between Luzio Miola and Paulo Dreita, who is barely in this fight, but still in this fight. The 12, the 5, and the 7 battling for the 8th spot on the racetrack. One of the narrowest sections on this course. One car hits the wall. I believe that was Dreita in the back. But we've seen a lot of just slight wall taps today. Sparks fly, but no real damage to these cars. Even with the new damage model, it seems like just slight taps to the wall might rub the paint off the tires, but it's not going to do much to affect the handling or the damage on the car.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Depends on how you hit that wall too, but most of the time you can get away with some slight touches. But obviously, if you slam the wall, you will feel the difference on your car, and you will pay the price for it. Not a lot of traffic for our race leaders today. We didn't really have a lot of issues in the opening parts of the race, so lap traffic won't be an issue. which is very good for them. Might give us a nice battle, although Albon doesn't really get any closer. But here in the midfield we have a lot of drivers fighting for position. Lucio and Meola almost side by side. Meola doesn't get enough close to try to put an attack on the Brazilian driver.
Miola is right on that back wing, just cannot find a way around through this back section. It's so close to find anywhere that they can try and get that pass done. He might have a good opportunity going down into turn number 1. We'll see if he can hold on right now as they go through the final corner on this racetrack, back onto the front straightaway. A little bit of a slipstream opportunity here as Miola runs right behind, looks to the outside, gonna look down to the inside, not able to make it happen. Back to the front goes Lucio, but another great slipstream opportunity is right here down the straightaway. Can the 5 make the move happen? Here comes Miola looking for 8th place. He's gonna dive into the inside, not fast enough, as Lucio is gonna hold on to P8. Back up to the front with Gianfranco Pagotto, and these 3 are getting closer together. Albon's gap to Pagotto has extended a bit, but Fittipaldi has closed in. They're about the same gap within each other as of right now, and Gianfranco Pagotto continues to lead the way through the middle section.
Yeah, it seems like the sweet spot for these drivers is about 9/10 as Meola looks to the east side of Lucio, but now Lucio will have the inside of the left-hander and will defend the 8th position. 9/10 seems like to be kind of the sweet spot for the drivers to not be too much affected with dirty air. You can see this pattern more or less in Albon and Fittipaldi, both at the same range and can't get really any closer.
We talk about dirty air as well with these F3 cars, and I feel like it's almost a bigger subject here at Detroit because of all the turns we have here, not a lot of straightaways that they're really just getting sucked into that dirty air. And like you mentioned, about around 9/10, that seems to be the gap where they're just right there. They just cannot close it. Once they break that bubble, they get to the back bumper and they can't find a way around. They might be faster like we just saw in that battle between Miola and Lucio for that longest time. Miola was there. He just couldn't get the pass done because he had no opportunity to try and get to the inside. So very difficult passing here at Detroit as the 21 going to go to the left side of the 3 of Anton Gulek. Clark looking back for the 3rd spot, not gonna get it. He gets loose going off that corner, and the 3 car is gonna stay in 5th place. As that battle for 5th rages on, we move back to this battle that I just mentioned between Lucio and Miola for 8th place. And Miola's just right there, can't do anything, and Verity's around. The 10 car.
Yeah, the issues already in the starting phase of the race, and he will now join Harm and Derech and Gillison in
4
the
laps
garage.
to go. And I did want to cut in there real quick because Fittipaldi just set another best lap of the race, and he is 1.2 seconds back from Pagotto. And he's only 3/10 back from Albon. Can he make this pass happen on Albon? And if he does, Alessandro, do you think he has enough time to catch Pagotto? Because by the time he gets that pass made, he might have only 3 laps to try and get that move done for the lead.
He needs to do it now. I mean, this lap. If he doesn't get past Albon this lap, I think Pagotto is safe and sound, if he obviously doesn't make any mistake, from any possible attack from these guys. But it looks very difficult. This middle section is pretty much impossible to pass. He will have to do it on the back straight next time by. It's a must pass for Fittipaldi if he wants to have any little chance to go for the win.
Well, here he goes. This might be his best opportunity as they're going to come back onto the start-finish straight. Using that slipstream, making that happen going into turn number 1. There we go. 3 laps to go as Pagotto crosses the start-finish line. What's the lap times? Fittipaldi only a handful of hundreds and thousands of seconds faster than Luca Albon. Down the long straightaway, he lost a bit of time going through turn number 2. That's not what he needed right now. He's not going to get the pass to be done. And with 3 to go, he is seeing this possible win slip from his fingers as the battle for 8th now rages on. Some bit of damage to the 5 of Francesco Miola. I think he tapped the wall there.
It was a big,
a little bit of lag. He did not hit the wall, so he's still good. That car is still fine, but here comes the 7, Apollo Dreta, who has joined this fight now. He might have a good opportunity to try and gain 2 spots for the price of 1, but will he have enough time to make it happen? This might be his best opportunity to try and get a pass done.
I already tried to pass him many times on this section, but he never really got enough speed to carry the pass on the outside, as Lucio promptly blocks the inside lane and defends again, so that Meola will have to stay behind him for another lap. If I'm Paulo Dreta at the moment, I would just back out of there and make sure I don't get caught in any incident, because Meola keeps getting more and more aggressive beyond Lucio.
This battle for 8th has been going on for, I believe, the entire second half of this race, and just it's been the same position the entire time, and that just goes to show how difficult it is to pass around Detroit. 2 laps remaining here at Belle Isle. We do want to remind any of the drivers racing here in the broadcast currently that post-race we are looking for interviews from you. Talk about your race here at Belle Isle, so make sure you join our Apex Racing TV Discord. All the information will be in the description and in the chat room from our producer Marco Barbarera, and you can join the Discord and we'll get a post-race interview with you talking about your race. We'd also like to really quickly thank a few of our sponsors, first of which being SDK Gaming, provide all of the wonderful overlays you are seeing here on the broadcast. You can get all the information on SDK Gaming at sdk-gaming.co.uk for all of the overlays for broadcast, Twitch streams, and more. We'd also like to thank the Virtual Racing School. They offer a lot of data packs, public group coaching sessions, and much more. You can head over to virtualracingschool.com for information there, and Apex Racing Academy, the title sponsor of the Apex Racing Academy F3 Official Championship. 29 data packs, setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, and more. And it's all integrated with Virtual Racing School. So head over to apexracingac.com for information there. Here's the battle for 2nd as it rages on. Fittipaldi, you're on board with him right now. Looks to the outside. He's going to run out of room, but he's going to make the pass happen around the outside. There goes Fittipaldi up in a second, but Albon's not done. They're wheel-to-wheel contact coming through the straightaway, but through the corner. Loses Fittipaldi sideways. He goes full lock on the wheel, but he keeps the spot. Gives 2nd to Enzo Fittipaldi. What a move.
It's not over. Albon coming on the outside. It's gonna be very, very difficult to make it work. Fittipaldi will cover the inside, but Albon has the nose in front.
Sideways,
pushing him wider.
The wall. The 6 of Luca Albon into the wall as Enzo Fittipaldi gets loose. That's not going to go over well. Modov moves up into 3rd. Albon back to 4th. What a move going through on the final lap. And this battle for 8th is going to stay the same as they go through that same corner. But Gianfranco Pagotto, he's been Mr. Consistent. Now he's Mr. On top as he takes the win at Detroit.
Great drive by Pagotto. Fittipaldi in 2nd place by almost got by Modov. Was really fast in the last sector with the damage obviously for the Brazilian driver. Albon to Clark Zipoli, and now Lucio defending from Meola till the last spot on the track. Great performance by this guy, great battle between Lucio Meola and Draeta. They kept it very clean all the way through. Let's watch back this defensive maneuver by Fittipaldi, covering the inside, squeezing Albon to the outside wall, and braking very late, a little bit too late. He got loose on entry, and this made obviously not possible for Luca Albon to turn, and obviously this caused also Albon to get back to 4th position in the end.
So this is the entire final lap battle. Just took the white flag. You're taking a look at the replay. We do really quickly do want to remind all of the drivers who are in this race that are tuning into the broadcast, make sure that you head to our Discord. We're looking for some post-race interviews. But right now we're taking a look at this replay for the pass for second. There's Fittipaldi on the outside, and Albon tried to give him just the slightest bit of room, and he was able to get the pass done. But here goes Albon. You can see them wheel to wheel, almost touching. I believe they touched a few times, but ascend to the inside, late braking, that was able to complete the pass for Fittipaldi in that corner. They come onto the back straightaway. Very long straightaway, lots of slipstream here. Albon makes a move to the left side, the outside going through this right-hander they're coming up to. And Fittipaldi tried to do the same thing. He was about a car length back, and just some contact with the rear wheel for him. The front wheel for Luca Albon sends Albon into the wall, and Modov was able to sneak by and hop into 3rd place. But after all that exciting end of that race, we're going to take a look at our full race results. Gianfranco Bagotto, his first win here on the broadcast. He takes the win with Enzo Fittipaldi in 2nd, Karl Modov in 3rd, Luca Albon finishes in 4th after all that drama on the final lap, and Anton Gulick will come home in 5th, with Isaac Clark, Marco Zippoli, Marcus Luzio, Francesco Miola, and Paulo Dreitau rounding out your top 10, with Lorenzo Esposito, Nathan Brito, Emil Bernstoff, Tom Van Humen, and Felipe Dantas rounding out your top 15, with Jose Kaplan, Vitolo Garcia, Marcus G, Thiago Spencer, and Isaac Gillison rounding out your top 20, with Stephen Verity, Samuel Hermer, and Carlos Dorecho rounding out your field as they all finished off of the racetrack. And Alessandro, it was we had some battles going on throughout the entire race, but it started out really exciting at the beginning, kind of had a little bit of a lull towards the middle, but man, those last lap battles were exciting.
Absolutely, Joshua. We had a blast in the last few laps. And also the guys in the midfield, especially Lucio Meula, had some very good battles throughout the whole race. So this shows you how the pace of all these drivers is very close. We've seen also some drivers like Anton Gulich being very, very fast, but unfortunately started all the way back in 10th position and managed to go by Clark and Zipoli quite late in the race. Otherwise, he would have had a chance to join at least Karl Modov for a battle for 3rd place. I think these drivers will be definitely very happy. Some obviously maybe wanted something more, like Albon for sure won't be really happy with the result, considering he was in 2nd place and he lost quite a few points today in the championship, since Gianfranco Pagotto is our race winner and also our new championship leader for the broadcast championship, at least.
And this broadcast championship is definitely going to continue to work its way through this season, and we have still a pretty good length season ahead of us. We're in the back half, but these back half tracks are some of the most exciting tracks on the circuit. We finished out week 7 here at Detroit, but next week in week 8 we have 5 rounds left, and we go to Road America, then Okayama, then Interlagos, then Road Atlanta, then we finish it off at Monza. I want to talk about Road America right now, Alessandro, because that's where we'll be next week here on the broadcast. 14 laps, a very long racetrack, around 4 miles in length, and is one of the most deceptively tricky tracks because a lot of people don't really see it as that difficult of a road course. There's a lot of straightaways, a lot of slipstream opportunities, but it is deceptively tricky with all the elevation changes, especially going through the second sector.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This track is going to be very difficult. Also for the setups, because you do want to have a very high top speed because you have plenty of straights, but at the same time you have some very long sweeping corners where aerodynamic is very, very important. So it's gonna be interesting to see also if we will have some different aero packages or setup for the drivers, because someone might go for a high downforce setups and someone else might go for a medium. But we have to stop, Joshua, because we have finally an interview. Karl Modorf coming in. Let's see if he can bring him here in the booth. Hi Carl, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, yeah, guys. I was actually trying to figure out. I was like, I don't know if there's an interview or not, but I'll give it a shot. But yeah, how's it going? That was
In
a
the
lot of
doubt,
fun there.
always come in. We are always happy to talk with our fellow drivers. Definitely a very interesting final laps for you because with the issues in front for Luca Albon, you got away with a podium today.
Yeah, sometimes the luck kind of comes to you. So yeah, thank the racing gods today for that podium. I was kind of hoping they would start battling with Gianfranco a little earlier, so I could, I had the pace to run with them, but they pulled out such a huge gap early on cold tires when I was behind Isaac, and I just kind of hoping they would start racing, allow me to shrink that gap and at least see if I can't give them anything. It's so hard to pass around here, but yeah, that was a lot of fun just holding on for dear life out there.
I wanted to ask you, how was the dirty air around this track? Because we know the F3 suffers a bit of this issue, and not having really a lot of long straights here at Detroit, I think dirty air affected many drivers today.
Yeah, the dirty air was super bad. I don't know if it was also just because we're running such high downforce, and then also the surface doesn't have a lot of mechanical grip, so you're really relying on that aero. So following, the only place you really have a good shot to pass is into turn 3, and you have the fastest corners on the whole track leading into that, which makes it really tough to get close enough to anyone to get by. So I was pretty fortunate that I think Isaac had a little bit of understeer coming out of 2, and it allowed me to get a pretty good run on him to be able to overtake him. But yeah, unfortunately, the dirty air was probably the worst track I felt at that. So it's kind of processional racing there.
And speaking about dirty air, I think also next week in Road America will be somewhat an issue. Do you think someone will go for a lower downforce for that track, or do you think that it's gonna be more important to have plenty of downforce for the long sweeping corners?
That's tough. That's going to be a tricky setup just because it's such a high-speed track. If you can get away with low downforce, you're going to be hard to get by, and you might be able to break the draft and get away. But yeah, I mean, if someone's running a high downforce track, they could easily run with you on a low downforce and then just draft past you at the line. So it's definitely going to be a lot of testing. Shout out to Connor Wagner. He developed the setup that me and Luca ran for this track, which was great. And hopefully he comes up with something that's super quick next week as well.
Anybody would like to thank before we let you go, Carl?
Yeah, just want to thank our sponsors, Move Up Transportation Services, Free M USA, Get Stuck, and everyone for tuning in. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining, and a good luck for the remainder of the season. We hope to see you back next week.
Cool.
Joshua,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Joshua, finally we got an interview. Really happy about drivers joining us for a lovely chat, speaking also about what's coming next.
Yeah, and awesome to hear from Carl Modoff as well, who had a really strong effort at the end of the race to try and make his way up further positions. He had a run at second, was not able to get it by only just a couple of feet at the start-finish line. But that's going to do it for us here on Apex Racing TV. We thank you all for tuning in. Before we head out, we're going to send you off to a few of our sponsors. But for Marco Barbanera, Alessandro Dalladone, I am Joshua Lee. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you very, very soon. We're saying goodbye from Detroit.